Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Knights of the Turntable. I believe this is episode 43. I apologize if I'm completely wrong about that. But as you can see, we have a full house tonight, so hopefully the topics are as special as this special occasion. With me, I have Richard Bailey.
What's up?
I got Joe Hova, a.k.a. Mac Miller, a.k.a. Slim Jesus, a.k.a. Young Casper.
No, I'm not Slim Jesus, dog. I'm not. I'll be Jesse Pinkman all day. I'll be the professor all day. I'm not Slim Jesus, all right?
Just not Slim Jesus.
You better chill out, Jason Pierre-Paul.
That picture
Alright.
look like you on everything.
You know what? I can't even be mad. I saw the picture and it didn't look like me. I can't even trip. I got your man Womp, a.k.a. Blue, in the house.
It's your boy. Not ready for that, but hey, I'll take it.
It's so disrespectful, God.
We've got B. Will in the house.
Man, what's going on, man?
And we've got our returning guest, Travi.
What up, what up? Second
You
episode.
want to
I'm
unmute
back.
yourself, man?
Well, I mean, you can hear me through your mic.
Almost. He says hello, everyone. All right, so we're going to jump right into things because we got two pretty major topics. But before we get to them, let's find out what everybody has been listening to. And we're going to start with you, Travi, because you're the newbie out the bunch.
I just been still listening to Kendrick.
Can y'all hear him?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I just think it's funny that I thought he was sitting in another room and he's just directly behind you.
Yeah, I'm literally right behind this dude. But yeah, I still been on Kendrick. He showed me that Vice track the other day. I was really feeling that.
Who do you think had the best verse on there?
I'd have to say, I know you said,
Schoolboy.
I'd have to say Schoolboy or Kendrick,
Fucking right.
personally.
Word. What else you been listening to, man?
Mainly, I listen to a lot of R&B, so it's not really.
Okay, gotcha. Did you listen to the Internet album?
No, I did not.
We're going to talk about that after the show. All right. Jehovah.
Dirty Sprite 2 in stores. I've listened to, I put that on at the gym the other day just because I hadn't in a while. I've been listening to 56 Nights a little bit more the last few times, and that's pretty much it, I think, just like kind of future. I went through that J-Rock once again, and the Mac Miller. The Mac Miller, like, actually surprised me. Like, I need to go back and spin that again.
You surprised yourself, man? Hey, look, cheers to stepping up your shit. You got to hold yourself accountable, man.
You don't chill with your blown off finger.
Hey, but yeah, Mac Miller's album is dope. Did the 90059 is it aging well for you? Because we all know that Compton aged like spoiled milk. So
I think the 90059 is aging pretty well. But I mean, it's only been out a couple of weeks, if that. So
need a little bit more time.
Yeah, it still needs like another month, I would say.
Word. Blue.
I went back to listen to Kendrick. I went back to listen to Yellow Wolf. What else did I listen to? I listened to J-Rock. It took me like 2 hours to get through that album, just because I put Money Trees on repeat for a while. I was jamming that one out. What else have I been listening to? Travis Scott still. Travis Scott.
Yeah.
That Maria I'm Drunk. That's been on repeat also.
Yo, you know what pissed me off about that though is that Maria I'm Drunk is not on the Spotify version. I'm so pissed.
Seriously?
Seriously, that is the only song not on the Spotify version.
Hey Joe, if you want, I'll send you the CD if you want.
He's trying to flex. Look at Blue. He starts spending money on artists, and now he think he just
money back.
But besides that, honestly, I've been listening to a lot of that J-Rock album. So, yeah, hey, Money Trees Deuce on repeat.
Did we find
That's all
out
you
who? Did we find out who Blue's favorite verse was from Vice?
On
City?
Vice? Oh, Schoolboy.
Okay.
Easily Schoolboy.
Cool. So no J. Cole in your rotation no more?
I put him on pause for a second, but I'll get back to him in the next week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hey, Born Sinner. I went back to Born Sinner.
Born Center show dope. Richard Bailey.
Yes, the usual suspects. We had a little bit of Kendrick, a little bit of J-Rock's new album. Not a bad album. I saw there was somebody complaining on the YouTube.
Because
I
they're
won't have
idiots, and it was another situation where they didn't pay attention to what we were saying.
He didn't watch the video. He didn't watch the video.
Like me and Joe said, like you can't really compare. Like people were expecting Kendrick from J Rock, and they shouldn't. And guess what the comment said? Don't compare Kendrick to J Rock. I'm like, bro, like just watch the video and shut the fuck up.
So he definitely gonna have something to say about this episode when you get into the later topic. Yeah.
Yeah, probably so. Definitely so.
Yeah. Tyler and the Roots.
Did you hear that Nas playlist that my girl did for the site?
Actually, you know what? I'm glad that you reminded me. Yes, I very much enjoyed the Nas playlist.
I knew you would.
And the Tupac.
Oh man, Rich been all over these playlists popping up on the site.
Oh yeah.
Oh shit, stuff that I listen to. What? Hey, I feel that Nas playlist. Hit thecoalition.com because Joe and what would she like to be called? The Gold Mermaid? Should we go with the Twitter name?
No, just call her A Marie.
A Marie. They've been putting together some incredible playlists. We've got Tupac, we've got Ludacris, and we've got Nas, and we've got a lot more coming. So definitely stay tuned for that. B Will.
I got back into that Kendrick after you shared with everybody that his
video
performance on the new Late Show, and that really kind of it gave me a different impression of it. Like it makes me feel like I would enjoy it more if I heard it live, band, small venue, and it really made me appreciate it, man. So I went back and listened to it again, and it's still not the album that I think it could have been. I feel like it could have been more impactful, but I still enjoy it, and that was never my argument with the album. Was never whether or not I liked it. I wanted it to be more accessible for more people to like it, but yeah, it made me listen to it again and enjoy it a little bit more.
Word up. On my end, listening to those playlists whenever I'm here at home, pretty much like now, because I don't have like the Spotify app on my phone, I just turn my computer up and I play it at the apartment. I just hit the Nas or the Ludacris or the Tupac playlist, and I just let them ride while I'm here. But on my commutes, I've been listening to a lot of instrumentals by a couple different artists. Wise, we just posted his Damn Trap project on the site. Shit, I did listen to the Kendrick because watching that live performance definitely made me want to go back and listen to it. I listened to the Mac Miller a good bit, the J Rock. I think that's about it, really. That's pretty much all that's been in my rotation. But there's so much to listening to coming out of 2015. Oh yeah, and the Weeknd's album. I bought that, and I've been listening to it. It was pretty good. So, but let's go ahead and jump into the main topics for tonight. I'm sitting here trying to figure out which one we should go first with, but I think we'll go with you. There's a handful of growingly popular and viral artists. Viral, I'll say, would be the Slim Jesus guy. I don't know if you haven't watched it. I'll throw the link in the post itself on thecoalition.com. But he's this little scrawny white guy with this super violent and
he essentially looks like me at 18. Like no meat on his bones, nothing. Loves hip hop.
Super violent. Like he is like you take what the radio plays, like the stereotypical perspective on hip hop, and put it in his music, and that's what we got. And he went viral all of a sudden. And there's a ton of diss tracks on the guy. He came out and did a video where he's talking about that's not the life that he lives. No shit. None of us were really surprised by that at all. But we've got him. We've got the Macklemore issue with Downtown and whoever it was that said he was keeping hip-hop alive. We've got artists like G-Eazy. We've got Mac Miller, your usual suspect. We got Eminem. You got Yellow Wolf, all these different artists. And what we're going to discuss is we're going to get everybody's perspective and see, is there a thin line between being an acceptable white rapper and not? And what makes the change? What makes Macklemore different from a Mac Miller, if you will. Joe, would you like to start us off? Not because.
Thanks.
Hey, Mac Miller, go ahead and start us off.
Thanks.
I didn't even think about that when I was asking.
And that's the thing. Like, as a white person who loves hip hop, like it's my favorite genre of music, I really don't respect most white rappers. Like, you would think that I would, but I don't. Like, it's just, Eminem's good. He's basically the standard for when it comes to, and I mean, he's not just because of his skin color. He's an exceptional hip hop artist. He does, he does it well. But when you get to some of these other ones, like Macklemore, just feels like it's manufactured. Like, once it becomes like that feeling where it feels like it's manufactured hip hop, like you're just making money off of the culture. That's where I draw the line. And stuff, and it's artists like that. Like I feel like Yellow Wolf was like that before. I feel like I don't know so much Mac Miller. I feel like he's kind of like me. He loves hip hop and he just kind of does it, because he loves it. Like the G-Eazy dude, he's not good to me. And that's the other thing about the internet too, is like you have somebody like Slim Jesus who's able to see the drill music scene in Chicago with King L and Herb and Bibby and all of them. And he's able to take that music because he likes it so much and try to profit off of it.
Right. Another one that I forgot to mention is Lil Dicky, who I listened to for the first time today.
And you know what's crazy? Is like a lot of people said that he has a really great album.
Yep, that's what I keep hearing, and that's what made me listen to it. I didn't know Lil Dicky was white until today. Like I didn't.
With a name like that, come on, for real.
No comment.
Bro, like
I'm just catching this shit.
You knew.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't think of it that way. I'm sorry. But all I saw is Lil Dicky featuring Rich Homie Quan and Fetty Wap?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
And this guy right here, actually, Travi posted it in our group chat that we have, and all I saw was the names. I didn't look at it. And then somebody else posted it on Facebook, and I saw, but it didn't say who it was. It just was like, say white rapper raps about saving money.
Mm.
And instantly what popped to mind was Macklemore because he blew up off a thrift shop. So I hit play and I realized this is that freaking song. I actually did not hate the song personally. I thought it was actually kind of cool and it was pretty funny in general. But that kind of song, I felt like he wasn't like taking it too serious basically. And that's why I didn't get like the Macklemore vibe with stuff now. It doesn't feel like it's appropriation completely. I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go through this conversation. But B. Will, how do you feel about all these guys?
Man, what's interesting to me is that, like Joe said, I mean, M would be the pillar of white rapdom. Number one, because he was actually really, 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 really good at it. Like that's it. Like Eminem battle rapped, and he was great at battle rapping when that's what he did. When he was freestyling, he was exceptional at freestyling. When it was time for him to make albums, he made, arguably, depending on your point of view, between 2 and 3 outstanding albums. Everything that we value as being important to being a good artist, he did it, and he did it well. Now, outside of him, everybody else kind of picks up 1 or 2 of the notches. Maybe they had a good album. Maybe they have some freestyle ability. Maybe they had some appeal to old school hip hop. But nobody's done all of them, and I think that's probably been the biggest difference. I don't really see the kind of prodding or negative advantage of of the hip hop scene is when they copy. Like that's that thing. Are you doing something that only you do? Because like we're talking about M. Nobody sounded like Eminem before Eminem. Now a whole bunch of people
True.
sound like Eminem, and that's probably a different discussion altogether. But nobody sounded like him. Now I don't have a problem with Macklemore. You know why I don't have a problem? Because he doesn't sound like anybody. He's kind of syllables all over the place, rapping about this very kind of watered down struggle. It's not a struggle in the sense that we're used to hearing about struggle from black rappers, but that's actually him. So I don't have a problem with that because it's unique to him. It's his own style. His production is usually outstanding, which, I mean, I applaud because it's a very polished product. So I don't have a problem with what Macklemore is doing. It's not like he's faking the trap scene or, nothing's artificial. It's just him. So everybody kind of falls somewhere in between Eminem as the God white guy rapper and everybody else is somewhere down on the totem pole. I guess it's just a matter of opinion.
Word up, word up. How about you, Blue?
So I'm gonna kind of echo what was said. Joe said Eminem was the standard, or is the standard, and what was the biggest thing or the biggest turnoff on white rappers is that everyone tried to mimic him. So it's kind of good to see a lot of these rappers, Mac Miller, Yellow Wolf, kind of grow into their own style. Because I mean, think of it this way: as we had numerous companies that forced rappers to kind of mimic him. Yellow Wolf is a prime example of that because his first album, it reminded me of him like crazy. Asher Roth at one point was also in that same boat, but we saw what happened to him. So it's kind of good to see these rappers kind of come out with their own style. I've got no problem with them. The only one I really had a problem with is kind of Macklemore, because you can see him kind of tailor it to what's going to sell when it comes to the commercial side. I mean, we did talk about, it's him, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know if that's him or is it he's just rapping to what, he knows is going to sell. So that's how I see it. But besides that, like I said, it's good to see everybody be genuine at that point with their own style.
And you know what's crazy is that, like, with Macklemore's music, you didn't really notice it, but, like, when he won the Grammy over Kendrick and then he posted it on Instagram, that's when you kind of knew it was like that. Because, bro, why would you, like, show this text and like, be like, hey, bro, I'm sorry. Like, that's some private stuff,
Yeah,
and you know what? I'll be completely honest. Some people said it's definitely something that I would have said about Macklemore, or I have said. I think when we did a conversation about it over on the Redefine, I've said the same thing. I did not have a problem with Macklemore before. I actually listened to that previous album, and I did not hate it. There were some times I just couldn't vibe with his rhyming, but you're right, he does not sound like a lot of people. Thus, the whole appropriation thing didn't even come to mind. And I said this before when we had the episode about Macklemore. I know it's true for me, and I feel it's true for a lot of people. It didn't become an issue until, like Joe said, he won the Grammy over Kendrick. And not only did he win it, but he also did what he did with the Instagram thing. I don't think not doing the Instagram thing makes Macklemore not a problem. I think the problem still would have happened. Matter of fact, when we were on Twitter, you saw it boiling or reaching a boiling point anyway. Mm-hmm. When people were looking at the nominations and talking about it then. And then for him to actually win it, it just completely blew up after that. Yeah. So I think that's where my issue comes.
Well, that's the other thing too, is like the Grammys is a whitewash. Like
that's true. That's very true.
If you have an artist in there with that's a white artist, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna win that award. Yeah. No matter what. And that's the thing. Like I didn't listen to the Heist. I've heard all the singles because I work in radio. But to say that album was better than Good Kid, Mad City that year,
yeah, not at all. And then what's funny is that he lists his some of his biggest influences being Wu-Tang, Nas, Talib Kweli. I mean, a lot of these artists that have those heavily influences, you can kind of see it in their music. I don't see that in Macklemore's music at all, personally.
At all.
Not even close. Not even close.
Is that a bad thing, or is that a testament to the artist himself?
Is that
I think it's a good thing, honestly, because a lot of people imitate what they like to the point where they sound too much like it, and then they're not worth listening to anymore. In my opinion, now, not a lot of people do it. Some of the best people who do make music, they are really good at taking elements, taking tactics, taking methodology of making that music, and then they absorb it into themselves, and then they make their own music. And I think that's to be respected. Now, I don't know what what Macklemore grew up listening to. I haven't gotten that deep into the story because I really don't care. I can't connect with Macklemore on a personal level based on what he's making, so it's not like I did some background research on him. But I think there's a lot of, a lot of these old rappers. What's his name? I distinctly remember hearing this. And don't ask me why. This was like a forum or a show from like the mid 2000s. Nelly was saying he liked a whole bunch of somebody was asking him about the beef with KRS-One. Mm-hmm. And he grew up listening to, he was naming all the old school rappers he listened to. Nelly don't sound like them. Does that mean he didn't respect them or get certain aspects of his, his style from them? That doesn't mean that he didn't. I can't see it though. But I see what you're saying. Like if he got so much from them, then where is the influence, or maybe even the nod to them in topic or substance? But I don't think that's necessarily necessary. That's not absolute. I need to show me where you got this from that artist. I need to see that artist and you right here, or you ain't real. I can't quite go there with it.
True that. And you're a bit more analytical when it comes to artists, but I don't feel like Lupe even really sounds like his major influence. I don't think, like, he gets some of the storytelling from Nas, and he's a big Nas fan, but as far as like Lupe's rhyming and his patterns and his schemes, I feel like they're completely different. And with him, we don't take that away from him.
Right.
But maybe we see it a different way with different artists and such. Go ahead, Luis.
I was gonna say, well, you kind of see with their style. When if we talk about Lupe and Nas, they're both conscious rappers. If we're talking about Macklemore and Nas, then he must have loved Uchiwali because that went the wrong way.
No, but you'd be wrong though, because if you listen to the Heist, Macklemore is actually a very conscious rapper about topics that we just don't fucking relate to.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem. They're white people problems.
Right.
They're white people problems. Like, that's what that is. Like, I can't buy this shirt, so let me go.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yeah. Blue would know about not being able to buy.
The only one that you might be able to relate to from the album is Same Love, because that's a struggle for genders, no matter for races. No matter
interracial relationships. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is very true. Yeah, because you obviously you didn't listen to Heist, right, Blue?
I tried to. Paused it, skipped it numerous times, but yeah, I tried to.
Yeah, because you can't just say the conscious rapper thing, because dude, I'd have to put that tag on him. Like Thrift Shop and this Downtown song, those are not the rule when it comes to the stuff that he puts on his project. Those are just like with a J. Cole, those are those radio playing to the radio songs.
Like, you know what a lot of the white rappers resemble though is how you go to a party and you're in college or something, and there's that white dude there who's trying to be down so bad and
Asher Roth
and
hey, you know what? Hold up, Joe. Hold on, real quick. You gonna stop fucking slandering Asher Roth, bro?
No. Hey,
me and you gonna have a problem.
Whoa. By all means, I like Asher Roth's music. After I enjoy it. So you're gonna have to hold up.
No, because you running your mouth by Asher Roth and you clearly don't know what you're talking about. Because if you're basing it off that first project, then that's the only way you can have a problem with it. Because this stuff since then and before then were top notch product. But we'll get into that after the show because I go into a long ass rant about that. But go ahead, Joe.
But it just feels like a lot of the white rappers. They're that dude at the party who's like, yeah, man, I can rap, and he's he does the yo 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 and all that kind of stuff. That's what a lot of it feels like they're making a mockery of the culture, just for their own personal gain.
Gotcha. And I guess the question is where does that begin and where does that end? You know what I'm saying? It's with Mac Miller, I felt like he was more in the Macklemore kind of lane early on, just a white guy that was rapping and showed that he could rap. But just like we pointed out, he's gotten significantly more personal now with his music, and it feels completely different. I don't get that vibe from him at all now.
No.
That could be partly based on the people he's collaborated with, as he's come along, the production that he's putting behind it. I don't know, but it's a completely different vibe that I get from him. No matter what style of song that he's doing, whether it's personal or just fun, I just don't get that impression from him. I don't know.
Yeah.
But would you like to jump in, sir?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. Well, what I just want to say is, as far as Eminem, I think he's top 5. Personally, rapper, not even just white rapper or anything like that. I think his lyrical ability is far beyond a lot of what we hear these days. When he first came out, and I do feel like the Slim Jesus guy only had a big impact because he was white. I think people saw, look at this skinny white kid rapping drill. He thinks he wants to be the white Chief Keef, And I think that's the only reason his video got so many views. They see a scrawny white kid and they want to start bagging on him. That's personally what I think. As far as the whole white rapper thing, I don't know. I don't have a big opinion on it because I can't relate to it. I don't listen to a lot of them. I listen to G-Eazy. I've been listening to Lil Dicky for a couple of months now, and like I said, I don't know. I think some of them do get a lot of their attention because they are white, but then I mean it can also work the other way. For instance, Iggy Azalea, whatever her name is. I mean, she's a white rapper and she gets bagged on, So I don't know. Like I said, I don't have a big opinion on it because I don't. It's just not an interest of mine, so I can't say too much on it. But that's just my 2 cents.
You know what I just realized what Slim Jesus is like that episode of Chappelle's Show where it's the trading places, the spouse swap or whatever.
Yeah.
And he drops that white kid off. He's like, I'm from the streets. He drops him off in the hood. Goodbye.
That is true. And you know what? He actually brings up a good point. I did forget about Iggy Azalea because I thought that, I thought she was done for it because T.I. dropped her like a bad habit. But he does bring up a good point because we do absolutely shit on her now.
Well, that's because that's a different issue too. Is because like
you can't understand her. I can.
Well, that's the thing is though, like some of these artists aren't digging their own holes, but Iggy digs her own hole with social media.
She does.
So that's on her. Like she had #1 songs on the radio. Like she was becoming a thing, and then she decided she was gonna take this left turn with social media.
And she decided to freestyle on stage.
Oh God, that
shit needs to stop.
It's not like if you played a Busta Rhymes verse backwards.
Yeah, she really did herself no favors on that tip. But I do feel like her rise to fame may have been along the lines of what he was saying, only because she was white to a degree. And being that white girl and having that black cosign from T.I., which she has lost apparently now.
I have a question though.
Yeah.
To Joe, he said that the white rappers sound like the white guy at a party who's trying to fit in with, I guess, the black crowd. But what is the white rapper supposed to sound like? Or supposed to be like?
I would say the thing that comes to mind is like when you were saying that Eminem's like top 5. Eminem studied the culture. So Eminem studied, he's a student of hip hop. He's not up there like making a mockery of it. Like he has his own style, he has his own. So like as long as you're like studying the culture, like you're gonna develop your own sound. So I feel like it's gonna be different, but I feel like you have to pay homage and you have to like respect the culture because this isn't your culture.
Well, I guess M kind of got away with that. Not got away with it like he was doing something wrong, but he had an instant cosign from one of the not founders of rap because that's late 70s, but of the popular selling records rap era, which began in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. Like the gangster rap era was its own thing, and that's a major cornerstone of the direction that rap ended up going. And M had that cosign from Dre instantly. So a lot of that work, that credibility was already there. He didn't really have to do a damn thing. It was, I met a kid named Greg with a wooden leg. It was instant. That was weird. Think about, you know what?
Actually, I got to go against you on that one, though.
Okay.
Because while T.I. is no Dr. Dre, like,
especially right now.
He's not.
At all.
A T.I. cosign for a white artist is big. I actually think the larger thing that made it where M was more acceptable is something that many fans of his don't even know. But I think it was because he built up his scene on the battle rap stage more so than like radio played beforehand. Because a lot of older heads seem to have this like instant respect for freestylers and battle rappers beforehand. Mm-hmm. So I think the Dre, of course, helped that, but I think both of those things together is what made it where, because I mean, dude was just snapping on the stage and just murdering people, like people that we respect in hip hop, and just the Dre thing on top of that. That may have even been what made Dre notice Eminem in the first place.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
It was. He told that story that he had to do the well, what was the name of the battle competitions back then? Because I remember
Scribble Jam.
Yeah, I remember talking about that. But I think all of those are factors. And again, the biggest difference from Iggy Azalea is that Iggy Azalea is from Australia, and she does not. she in no way was close to or raised in and around the culture. And even if she was, she's just an imitation of a bunch of popular female black rappers. Like, that's it. It's like you just give me an average of the top 40 rap women for the last 10 years, Iggy Azalea, like that. That's the problem.
The key, the lock, the main point for Iggy is her voice. How she actively changes it to imitate what she feels is hip hop.
Because she has that southern kind of like ghetto voice when she raps, but when she talks, it's an Aussie voice, and that's a mockery to me.
Yeah. I would definitely put her more on the mockery side of things, and I've hated her since she came out, like, for that reason. But that also would make me kind of step back and look at the other artists that I do criticize, like Macklemore and stuff. And I'm like, is it a fair thing? Which, to me, I'm pretty honest, like, that situation, the whole thing that set me off was the Kendrick not winning over him, which I shouldn't have been mad because it's the fucking Grammys. I shouldn't have cared at all. But that definitely was a point where I kind of just was fed up, basically.
Well, Richard Baker, know what you... Oh, my bad. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, I was going to say, where at some point we have to decide, and this is, I guess, on a person-by-person basis or, you know, between everybody and their individual friends, but at what point does somebody white taking something, and I'm saying taking not like stealing, I'm saying using things that they like and they love. We grant, you know, Joe loves hip-hop and hip-hop culture. There's nothing fake about Joe liking hip-hop. So if Joe tweets out some lyrics from Future, somebody who doesn't know Joe, are they going to be like, you can't say that shit? Why not? It's just music. It's supposed to be universal. It's supposed to be a bridge between cultures at its best. So if we will allow that we want everybody to be able to love hip-hop and enjoy it, then at what point is a white person that wants to rap, when they use certain things, at what point does it become a mockery? Where is that line between I admire that and appreciate that, and I'm going to use that as a building block in what I want to do, between, because I feel like there's a huge gap between Iggy and Eminem, of course, for a lot of reasons.
Whew.
Where in between that is the line?
I feel like it becomes a mockery when you haven't studied and you don't respect the past stuff. So like an artist like Macklemore, sure, he says he has Talib, influence and Wu-Tang influence. If he did the studying and the work, more power to him. But like artists like Slim Jesus, who sees this stuff and he's just like, oh hey, I'm gonna rap now, or like Iggy. It's one of those things. They're using it just for profit, whereas they're not helping the culture. They're not helping expand hip hop.
It's based on the love for hip hop, or if you're just in it for the money.
Bingo.
Yeah. With the things that I relate to within hip hop and how I grew up off of it, it may be, and I may be completely conditioned to this point, consciously conditioned to where I will never be okay with a white artist winning the award that basically publicly defines a genre of hip hop. Basically, I think that was what my issue was. I didn't think Macklemore's album was anywhere near as good as Good Kid, Mad City. Nowhere near as good, not even close. But I'm also not 100% sure if it were that close to it that I would want it to win. I don't know. That's just, I think that's just part of my wiring and my programming as it goes with hip hop. Joe, you got something to say?
I was just gonna ask, when he won that was album of the year, right? It wasn't rap album of the year.
If I'm not mistaken, that was album of the year.
Because they don't televise the rap album category at all, any of the hip hop categories at the Grammys. So for him to win that album of the year over Kendrick, which was probably arguably one of the best projects to drop in the last 5 years, it's funny.
I can't flick with it. What were you gonna say, Brian?
I was gonna say, I kind of forgot, but Joe talk about the Grammys made me think of this. After that happened, I looked up who votes for Grammys, what makes an album eligible to win a Grammy, and all the things that go into it. Basically, the Grammy committee it's not just like a body of 20 people. It's everybody who has put out a certain amount of work that is commercially available right now. Mm-hmm. Once it's out, I forgot the ramification. It has to be out in so many countries, and it has to be on SoundScan. Once you put music out like that, you are eligible to vote, and anything that you make can be voted on as well. Other people have to nominate your work, of course. So the committee, like if there's a rap Grammy, the people who vote on rap Grammys are the people who have produced albums, who have artists who have made albums, writers, past Grammy winners, things like that. So one thing that we have to keep in mind, even when it's the Grammys, it's not like Southern California en masse is voting for the Grammys. It is label execs. It is, like I said, producers, but also producers who might not be mainstream people. Like we think of hip-hop producers, it's not necessarily those guys. It's maybe guys who did drum patterns back in the day, and they've got an in on the rap category because they did drum patterns on 808 machines back in '85 or whenever the Grammys started counting rap albums. So I guess what I'm trying to get to is the people who really have a finger on the pulse of hip-hop and says what's important are not the people voting for the Grammys at all. So on a certain level, it's like we have to be mindful that these aren't the people who know what's hot, who know what's impactful for the culture, who knows that Good Kid, Mad City followed by The Pimp a Butterfly, and to know that those albums kind of changed the course a little bit. Those people don't know that. They don't think that.
You know what's funny is there's probably a political podcast talking about this right now with people voting on candidates they don't know shit about.
It's very true. And you know what? Correction. He won Best Rap Album. That's what he won. That's what he won. It wasn't Album of the Year. It was Album of the Year. I cannot remember. It was who Kanye got mad about. What
Bet.
that ever?
Bet.
No,
Yeah.
that was this year.
That was this year?
Yeah.
I thought that was the same one for his. I don't know. But yeah, he didn't win album of the year. He just got rap album of the year. But Richard Bailey, go ahead, jump in, man.
Oh yeah. You know, there is nothing that I could say better than what you all said. Although I will say this: you guys are way, way too respectful. The name is Wacklemore, not Macklemore. Wacklemore. Okay, you have to remember that. Wacklemore. Yeah, I mean, going back to everything that was said about Eminem. Yeah, I think I agree with the statement about him being the one that set the standard because he was in the battle scene. He talked about a lot of you know, some personal stuff, but also just a lot of things that were going on, and he felt that he wanted to get off his chest. I had a respect for that. I'll tell you right now, I have not listened to all of Mac Miller's album yet. So far, it's pretty good.
It's definitely worth it.
I definitely enjoy Yellow Wolf's album, more so because of the production. Don't really care what he's saying, but the production is great, so it's good.
I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
he actually was saying some pretty dope stuff.
Yeah.
That nigga.
So I consider them to be pretty decent artists, I would say. Again, I'm pretty sure there probably is some Macklemore fans watching this. I do apologize, but I just can't get down with that cat. That's all I gotta say about him.
Rich dug in the crates and called him a cat.
You know that's part of his regular vocabulary now.
Oh man.
Have you listened to Slim Jesus, man?
I haven't heard of this guy. And then you talk about this Dicky guy. I don't know who the hell these people are. I'll have to give them a listen and see what that's all about.
We'll come back to this in 2017.
I will say this though, because a lot of people say, you always talk about old school. I find it interesting how none of you guys mentioned the Beastie Boys because they actually did some great stuff back in the day.
I was saving that because I knew that if we didn't mention the Beastie Boys, I knew we was gonna have somebody in the comment section. I was saving that.
But you know what's crazy about the Beastie Boys is that, like, back then hip-hop was just starting, so, like, all of that stuff was so rock influenced, it's technically still rock. Like, they play Beastie Boys on, like, rock stations still.
Yeah.
So like, it's still hip-hop, but at the same time, it's like there wasn't enough hip-hop at the time to where I feel like that's kind of like predating.
Yeah, you don't feel like they defined it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's interesting about the Beastie Boys, though, is that at that point in time, hip-hop did not have a street element to it. There was not a poverty, struggle, crime factor to hip-hop.
Nope.
So what there was you could from the hood, but it wasn't from the hood, and it was more like from the hood, this is where I'm at, I'm going to name my street, and I'm going to shout it out, and I'm going to rap some raps. And because of that, because there was no authentic street element to carry, the Beastie Boys weren't out of place. I mean, I don't know if they got thrown on. I don't know if they got thrown on at, the block parties like, EPMD did, but I also know that you didn't say, hey, they're faking, because all they're doing is rapping about white people stuff. That's it.
Yep.
They're rapping about white people stuff over these drum loops, which was very similar to the other drum loops, with these samples in the back, and it was the same thing. So you fast forward 20, 30 years, it's like now, I guess the question I'm thinking of, that I'm kind of circling my mind around is, did the black, poor, inner city struggle become synonymous with hip-hop? Is that what hip-hop is now? Because that's what we relate everything to. It's like, yeah, okay, you're rapping about the stuff, white guy, that's the same thing the hood rappers rapping about, but we don't believe you, so we don't like you. Or Macklemore, who is, you're not rapping about that shit enough. That's the struggle. That is what rap is. So you're not rap enough because you don't have any part of that struggle. Is rap now equivalent to the black inner city struggle?
That's actually a good question. That's a very good question. I feel like it kind of is. Just based off like you go back and listen to some of our favorite artists, some of the artists that you put in like the top 5 categories. Like go back and listen to Pac, go back and listen to Biggie, Jay, Nas. I mean, they talk about that stuff, and those are like on some of their classic albums.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have a valid point. I feel like we have equated hip hop to the black inner city struggle,
which is amazing to me because I wonder if, like Run DMC, are they not hip hop enough? Is it like if you got in before things got inner city and dangerous, you're cool, but after that you got to be inner city and dangerous, and we don't fuck with it? Which is kind of amazing.
The thing is,
I wonder, like bringing that up makes me. No, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was just gonna say the thing is too is like Run DMC, like a lot of their stuff still sounds like it's heavy rock because like that's where it was coming from. Right. A lot of the influence was from that, and they were building hip hop at that time. So I feel like that like after them, that's when like we actually have quote unquote like real hip hop. After that
is that maybe
foundation.
Is that maybe why we have such a disconnect between artists of today and the old heads? Because remember we talked about that on a previous episode, and how we don't really talk, or new artists now don't really talk about the old heads and stuff. And matter of fact, who was it? Killer Cap? He was on there because it was me, Rich, and Gary and them, and he was like, the pioneer of hip hop is still alive. But you don't hear people talk about him very much or have him featured on stuff and stuff like that. Maybe, a lot of it's the difference in the struggle.
Well, a lot of it, too, is because it's like sports. It's a young man's game. Like, once you hit 30, everybody thinks you're washed up when you still have good years left in you. So,
Jay-Z!
Chill out with that.
You need a phone call. You need a phone call in the morning from Jay himself.
He was plenty viable at 30. It's when he hit retirement. That's when it was
hit 40.
Retirement.
That first retirement, that was it.
40 is the new 30 or whatever the hell bullshit he was trying to get us to believe. But yeah, you're right. It's definitely a young man sport. But
so
I feel like
that line? Go for it.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so where does that line start at? I mean, where we mentioned the old heads and then from there proceed on. I mean, where did hip hop actually change? Because I would say maybe the biggest factor into that was NWA. I mean, that's when it kind of changed drastically with gangsta rap.
I would say NWA, LL Cool J. Like that's when it kind of started to like sound, kind of like the hip hop that. We're kind of like
Yeah.
What do you think, B. Will and Rich? Because I think y'all will have more insight on that part.
Dang, he smooth called us. Oh, it's cool. y'all were live.
Hold on a second. I ain't that doggone old.
No, beyond age, it feels like y'all are more in tune with the differences, the changes in the different time periods.
That wisdom. They have that wisdom.
Yeah.
They got wisdom.
So where do y'all feel like it changed? I definitely think NWA could have been, because before that, talking about Beastie Boys and all that and Run DMC, without the struggle kind of infused into it, would hip hop have become as big as it is today, or did that happen because of the struggle being brought into it and people getting behind it? Which NWA would be a pretty substantial part of that.
Wow, you know what? I had a friend in undergrad with me. He was very much, and I don't want to politicize this conversation at all because we see enough of that just being on social media nowadays. But something that, and this was back in like 2004, he always used to kick me the idea that a lot of the problems for black people was, systematic racism. I mean, of course, and I don't think anybody here is going to deny that. But he made the point that even though the message in rap was so negative at a certain point, and we as black people, we still took pride in it, and we ripped the hell out of rap music because we like to see black people being successful. And it was almost like, look, I don't care what you have to say. You get up, you make your money, you make your wealth, you put other black people on. And I was combative about it. I was like, I don't endorse that train of thought, because I do think it makes a difference how you get to that point. Like at this point, Jay-Z has let him tell the story. He sold a whole bunch of people dope, including his mom. He's killed some people, if we're gonna believe him, or put into motion actions, other people killing people. But what Jay-Z is right now is a music mogul, a business mogul, a music legend with a timeless pop culture icon wife. And he has his hands in businesses all over the United States, probably globally. He is a culture icon in his own right. Does everything he did before this justify where he's at now? And I would say no. And my friend would say, yes, it does, because we have to work with what we're given. Now, the question that he posed to me was, I said, well, look, it's not like people said, hey, NWA, we're some white guys. We really want everybody to see you black guys rapping about bad stuff. So we've heard this fight the power and friends, how many of us have them. We don't want any of that wholesome stuff. You guys talk about killing cops and fucking bitches and shooting each other up in colors, and we're going to put it on the mainstream, and everybody's going to know that black people do this bad shit. And NWA was like, oh, okay, shit, well, all right, I'm down with that to make some money. I don't think that was a conversation that ever took place. And that was my point to him. I don't think anybody forced black people to go from the positive hip-hop to the negative hip-hop. However, he always made this point. Black people would have made rap based on where they were at, what their surroundings were like, what their culture was like, no matter what. If nobody ever paid $1 for the shit, rap would be made, period. However, why is it that self-destructive rap is what started selling when we know the chief component of the market for rap music is white people? Why is that what sold?
That's a valid ass question.
Now, that's where I think the change in music began, because hip-hop was not a commercial force before gangster rap music. Why not? The Beastie Boys were actually huge before gangster rap music. They sold, I don't want to say they sold millions before.
Inflation will say millions.
Inflation will say millions. I mean, like you said, Beastie Boys are still getting spin right now, and I haven't heard Run DMC walk this way. Well, no, that's not true. That's not true. I
still hear that. Personally.
Yeah, that's not true. But we're not hearing Rappers Delight on the radio right now.
This is
Can
true.
I say that? Okay, cool. Okay. So, why is it that messages, the inner city struggle, which is, let's be for it's reality, but it's also negative. I think it was a necessary step to let's put this story and this perspective on the mainstream. However, why is it that it sold so well?
You feel like it was put up there and embraced for a completely different reason.
Exactly.
Than what we would believe or hope. What we would hope it would be up there for.
Right. And that's a perspective that my friend kicked to me, and that was one of the things I had to concede. I was like, you know what? That's actually a good point. It's not like rap wasn't available before gangster rap. It's not like it wasn't even known. I mean, that was that picture I've seen of Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff and Salt and Pepper and Miss Chalet and all these people outside the Grammys, because rap wasn't a category at the Grammys yet. Rap was around. It existed. People knew it was there, but nobody started paying attention until it became a tool that had just as much negative as positive in it.
Very, very valid. And I mean, it makes me start thinking about a whole lot of things that we probably need a whole other episode to discuss. But does anybody have any final words on this topic? No, I think we good. We good. All right, cool. Let's go into this next topic that I probably should have led with, but I never knew that first topic would have blown into this.
Yeah, almost an hour.
Yeah, that's crazy, but it's really good. But this is the final topic for the episode is: has TDE, Top Dawg Entertainment, outside of Kendrick Lamar, failed the other artists in TDE, which is SZA, Isaiah Rashad, Schoolboy Q, Absol, and J Rock? Or is it the other way around and those artists have failed TDE as a whole and not lived up to the potential? Prologue going into this. When TDE became a thing and they signed under the umbrella of Aftermath, there were so many think pieces and articles out there talking about how TDE was going to be the next hot shit, which is reasonable considering everything we heard before that. We heard Section 80, we heard Habits and Contradictions, and there's another one from Schoolboy Q. We had Long-Term Mentality from Ab-Soul. 3 of those off the chains.
Control System.
And we had Control System. And we had J Rock's album on Strange Music, which was dope, and he was the first to sign out of all of them. And SZA and Isaiah Rashad, you know, when they came along, we trusted TDE to make a good decision to sign artists because of the quality artists that they had in-house already. But suffice it to say, have things been disappointing? Things have been disappointing on the sales sense, rather. But where is the problem there? Let's get everybody's perspective on that. Would you like to go first, Blue?
I can. I mean, I'm not really disappointed. The only disappointment I really have is with Absol. I mean, that last album of his, that's my biggest disappointment. I'm not really worried about the sales because, I mean, realistically, good hip-hop doesn't, I mean, over the last couple of years, even before that, I mean, good hip-hop, you know, conscious rap, you can say, doesn't really sell. So I've got no problem with that as long as the product is good. But, I mean, if like we have lackluster verses like Absol's last verse, I've got no problem with that because I mean Schoolboy's Q last album was pretty good. Kendrick's 2 albums great. J Rock, I can't argue with J Rock.
But that's the problem though, is that it feels like Kendrick's projects are great, but everything else there's something wrong here and there now. Like with Schoolboys, it wasn't sequenced right. It sounded off. Like the entire time you listened to it, like there was a song you needed to like replay. Like there's a resequenced version somebody did on Spotify. Absol's These Days was terrible. I don't know if that's
These Days shouldn't have come out.
Shouts to Kels.
Like shouts to her. I don't understand it. She enjoys it. I don't know. But These Days should not have hit, like, it shouldn't exist in the form that it is.
So with that, does the same attention go into the other albums, like Kendrick's album, just because of who it is?
You have to wonder.
That's my curious.
Look at what happened with Ab-Soul and J Rock's album. We got this whole fucking game of where's the release date, where's these singles, or we have a long series of singles with no release date. With Ab-Soul, it may have been longer than J Rock's, honestly.
Yeah.
As long as we were getting songs from him. And then it pops up, no physical copy for Ab-Soul. It's only digital. Caught people off guard. Yeah, you know, in hindsight, thank God. But still, at that point, as an Ab-Soul fan, I was like, you know, what the hell is this? Is there a marketing issue? Is there something else going on? Are there songs being held back for other projects? Like, what is the problem?
So with that, can we say maybe a cosign is the biggest contributor to that? I mean, because Kendrick got Dre's cosign. What about everybody else? Did they get the cosign?
But the thing is, it's not like these artists were making bad projects.
No, and that's the thing. They're still not making bad projects. They're not getting the attention that Kendrick's getting for some reason.
Let me rephrase.
That's the thing, though, is that it feels like it's being sabotaged from the inside. Like J-Rock's whole thing.
Hey, that's all aftermath at that point.
J-Rock got a release date for 2016, the very first time, and Twitter clowned it the entire time. And so then it became this marketing ploy, like, oh yeah, we're gonna get so many pre-sales. Oh yeah, we're gonna drop a single once this, and then they kept moving the date back and back and back and back to 2015, until they were just like, oh yeah, here the album's gonna drop in like 4 days. Like, what kind of marketing scheme is that? And if you're gonna do that, you do it with the lesser known artists like SZA and Isaiah Rashad instead of somebody who's established like J-Rock.
It's very valid. I feel like Rich has a lot to say on this subject.
He said so in the group me.
He did? Oh, damn.
I think so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rich.
All right, let me go ahead and start off by this. You asked the question of who failed who. This is all on TDE. And what I wanted to say earlier, which I did not say, I really think that TDE should be renamed to TBD because I'm still waiting to see on Kendrick's level. I mean, listen, all the attention is on Kendrick. Right now, all the attention is on Kendrick. I'm totally fine with that. However, the other artists, J-Rock's album. Now, the album I think the album is pretty good. I enjoy that Gumbo song. I play that song over and over again because I like the beat, I like the delivery, all that was great. Then I listened to his impersonation of Old Dirty Bastard a couple months later, and I think to myself, what the hell is this shit? So, I just don't get it. I think a lot of these artists are great. I know you mentioned earlier about Dre co-signed he co-signed Kendrick. Well, Busta Rhymes had a nice little song on the J-Rock album.
He did.
Yeah, but see, nobody knew that Busta Rhymes was going to be on this album. That was just like came out of the blue. Okay, yeah, that's interesting. But I just think that really at this point, all the attention is on Kendrick. So everything else looks like okay, yeah, these other artists are okay. But I think from a business standpoint, what they should be doing is where's the TDE album at with all the artists on it? Because
all right, well now I will say this. All right, I'm gonna be devil's advocate throughout this particular topic. All right, is it possible that these other artists just can't translate to the mainstream level as well as Kendrick has? Because we've talked about it often, how Kendrick is very malleable when it comes to that. He did the stuff underground before. You put him on these mainstream tracks, and he can still make it appeal to everyone. Is the problem the artist can't do that, or should TDE be trying to get them to do that? Is that the problem?
I feel like yeah. No, go ahead, man.
Go ahead, Drew.
Well, I was just gonna say that. I mean, it kind of does seem that way. That they can't just break into that mainstream, because like you were saying, they've been making music for a while, and they're still not up in that top tier like Kendrick Lamar has. Schoolboy Q is kind of creeping up that way. He's trying to get there, but as far as J-Rock, Absol, SZA, all of them,
they just don't have that appeal, basically.
Yeah, they don't have that.
Yeah.
But with that, we might as well call it sabotage, because I mean, the biggest way to help launch these guys is put them on fucking Kendrick's album. I mean, his last album didn't have anyone from Black Hippie on there. I mean,
the one before didn't either. Besides J-Rock.
I mean, besides that, J-Rock, and J-Rock is the closest one relevant out of them all. Although Schoolboy Q and all of them, they're all talented. But I mean, let's call it sabotage at this point.
I like to make a quick statement. See, I think that Kendrick's last album, this most recent album, that album needed to be just him, because he went through a journey. He had his little time where he went to Africa, and he had this whole vision for how he wanted this album to be. I'm totally fine with that. But again, there needs to be some collaborative album, because if he does a great single with all of these guys on it, they do a video, they perform that, I'm pretty sure that will get them some more attention, and that will possibly help them elevate a little bit further. I don't know if you can say that they all aren't capable of doing it, because again, there's some good J-Rock songs on the album. The whole album is not good, but there's some stuff on there that has potential. So,
and we've heard great music from all of them.
Yeah, you know what it feels like though is like for the mainstream conversation is that like it's that 2004 Lakers team. Like you've got Kobe and you got Shaq, of course. Like they're dominating. That's Q and Kendrick. Like I feel like Q's the next one to cross over. But then you have Karl Malone and Gary Payton, and they're not quite there anymore. Like, to be honest, like you're not gonna hear a J-Rock song on the radio unless it's Gumbo. Like J-Rock,
or unless you cut his fucking verse out of it.
Exactly. They're not gonna market J-Rock to the radio because his verses are too aggressive. They're not. It's not gonna happen. I'll be surprised if like they market some of his stronger songs, like it's something that's not Gumbo, because Gumbo is probably the most radio-ready song for him to market.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
And you know what? Stepping back from the situation, I personally, as a fan of TDE, I can't expect them to be Kendrick level of popularity either.
Yeah.
But J-Rock selling 15,000. That doesn't sound very like I don't understand how that happens.
Well, you know what? We need to examine something. There's something that we need to examine here. I want you to think. I'm gonna name. I want anybody. I'm gonna name one, and I want everybody to name a rap clique over the last 20 years that had some place in prominence. The first one that comes to my mind is the Rockefeller of like.
Rock easily.
Yeah, Rock. Yeah.
Rock.
I mean, there was some others like Rough Riders for a minute.
Yeah, I didn't believe entirely in Rough Riders.
But Rough Riders, listen, when that Volume 1 dropped.
Okay. Yeah, that's true.
That I would say the whole Death Row clique in the mid '90s. They really, I mean, Snoop, Pac, Dog Pound, Dre with the Chronic. Like that was a cohesive clique, and they made great music.
Yeah.
Now,
what was the question?
No, I'm getting to a larger point. When you think of those cliques, how many people in any clique, and that's from now, I mean, any clique you can think of, the Rockefeller clique in that period of time, there was one outstanding person, that was Jay-Z. Beans was good, Bleak was mediocre as fuck, and Emil was trash.
Yes.
Right? Now,
Yeah.
that is common to the structure of a clique. Let's go to Rough Riders. DMX, it's weird to call DMX great, but he did something that nobody else did. He was great at what he did, and he was definitely.
Ain't nothing wrong with calling DMX great.
He had 2 #1 albums in the same year.
Yeah, I'm pretty
DMX
sure.
amazing.
MC Hammer might have too, and I'm not trying to call him great.
But for the purposes of this discussion,
right.
DMX is great.
So DMX is great. Give me one more great person. I'll give you Eve good. I give you Jadakiss good, even though he's kind of one-dimensional. Styles P might have been the best person in the Locks, but he didn't do his best work with Rough Riders.
That's true.
So, again, that clique, it's not like everybody is just firing on all cylinders. You usually have one person carrying everybody, and I don't think that's unusual. Death Row is probably the only exception because Snoop, Dre, and Pac all made music that was heavy hitters. Go ahead.
I have to say Dipset.
Yeah, I was just about to say. So who carried Dipset? Are we gonna say Killer Cam carried Dipset, or?
Well, I
Killer
know
Cam
you're not about to slander.
No. But by no means am I gonna slander Killer. But I mean,
I don't say it was Killer, Jim, and Juelz.
Yeah, those are your 3. Because
Okay.
I mean, well, with that said, let's talk about who. I'm trying to think of his name. Because there was 6 main people in Dipset.
Freaky, JR, and Hell Rell.
Yeah, and let's be honest. Did J.R. Ryder carry Dipset? No, not at all. Not at all. So
But
I mean, those are your main 3.
That's a different.
It's a different conversation.
That's a
Hey,
way
Go to it
different
because
conversation.
I'm a Dipset fan. But
me too. By all means, I enjoyed them, but let's be honest, those were the three that carried Dipset. I mean,
So
I guess my issue is like, it's valid what you say about the clicks, and with those older clicks, I didn't have as much exposure to their music before they became a click.
But we know how great they can be. We know how
Exactly.
great TDE
That's my issue. Like, we were listening to album after album after mixtape of dope music from TDE nonstop, with little things sprinkled in between features and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Then they get the big cosign, and Kendrick go, out the gate. Kendrick's perfectly fine, but everything else, like he said, feels sabotaged.
so I was gonna say. So with that said, could the reason be because of the fear of failing? I mean, do we want another firm?
Don't nobody put out these days if they're scared of failure, homie.
With that said, like with that group, it being like a collab album, is the expectation so high that failures is in that?
Well, no,
can't
with
get
the Black Hippie thing, they said that they didn't want to do a Black Hippie album before. Like they've been against that from Jump Street.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're not gonna do a Black Hippie album, why would they do a TDE album? You know what I'm saying?
So.
Yeah, like I mean, I still hold out the hope that they do one, because you hear a song like Vice City and you listen to their old collaborations, them on tracks together is dope, and a full project from them would be pretty cool to me. I don't think we'd end up with fucking Cruel Summer. I think we'd actually have a pretty solid project, personally. But maybe they listen to Cruel Summer and they're like, we don't want to be that. We don't want that to happen to us.
You know what? You know what I was just thinking too? Slaughterhouse.
Whoa. There's nothing wrong with Slaughterhouse.
I don't agree with you.
There's nothing wrong with Slaughterhouse. The second album, yes.
I was about to say, there is something wrong with
thing,
Slaughterhouse.
but
The second album was
the
trash.
thing, though.
But the
That's
well,
the thing, though. It's not. It wasn't a commercial success.
But the problem is that with Slaughterhouse, they signed to Shady, and Shady pushed for that. So if they would have stayed independent, we probably wouldn't have had that.
But I get what Joe's saying, though. The group appeal blew up on the non-mainstream album.
Okay.
When they went mainstream, it went to shit.
Oh, I agree. The fucking In Your House shit is fucking
Yeah,
whack.
and they had to put out a mixtape.
The mixtape was better.
The album.
The mixtape was better than the fucking album.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's the thing, though. Maybe there's really only one person or two people in a clique at a time, or maybe just, I'd say less than half of the clique most of the time, is dynamic enough and pivotal enough to what they do to be able to carry it across the mainstream as well. Like, I think Kendrick, you can clearly tell between what he did with Good Kid, Mad City and Now to Pimp a Butterfly. I don't want to say he's the brains of the operation, but I kind of feel like he's the brains of the operation musically. And I think that's okay. I don't think we need to expect more from them because, like you said, the stuff that you heard from TDE before Kendrick blew up is stuff where I'm sure they all collaborated more, was around each other more, making stuff more together. But when you take the brains out and you see what's left, yeah, you see what's left. We know who was the brains of this operation because who came out with this song idea? Kendrick. Because it made sense. Now the rest of this shit is terrible.
I think that is less so that. I think they are individually more than capable. I really do believe the problem is they want the other artists to replicate what Kendrick has, and they don't fit in that lane. One of the conversations me and Joe have had multiple times is how each one of them can appeal to a different market.
That's true.
Kendrick is the only one that we said would appeal to like both ends because he can make that catchy radio song sound like.
Could you imagine Schoolboy Q on Taylor Swift's remix? Like, you can't.
Schoolboy Q on Bad Blood. He doesn't fit there. Kendrick fits there. Ab-Soul doesn't like he's just not going to be a radio artist, and that's what these days sounded like. It sounded like they wanted him to be a radio artist. They wanted him to be a Kendrick Lamar. Ab-Soul's the farthest from that.
Is it fair to call these days his lasers?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
Like, I don't know if you saw me tweet about it, but I was like, would Lupe actually burn lasers and these days for me if I sent it to him? Like, blow both of them motherfuckers up. But, Absol is on the super conscious side of things. And I feel like if you let him do that, that will sell just fine, where he's not going to do Kendrick numbers. And we can't ask for him to do it. Schoolboy Q probably is the only one that could come close to Kendrick's numbers, or he would come the closest because of his very, like, I wouldn't say radio friendly, but he has more of
the college vibe.
He has the charisma, like
He
that's
has the
the
charisma,
thing.
yeah.
He has the appeal and the charisma. That's what stands out about Q's music.
Yeah, like he could at least be doing ASAP Rocky numbers, easy. Just don't say that.
Rich got something to say. Rich got something to say.
I agree.
He could at least be doing those numbers. J-Rock could be in his own lane as well. I'm pretty sure his album with Strange Music sold better than this one, and this one arguably is a better project. But I don't know, man. I really think the brain trust is failing the collective group of people over there. They may be high on Kendrick's success, and they're trying to replicate it, and they can't. You got any last words on it?
Not really. Y'all pretty summed it up.
Word up. Anybody else? We good? All right, word. All right, so let's get final statements from everyone for the whole show. We just did 2 major topics. I'm glad I didn't come up with a longer list of stuff because we would have been here all night. But Rich, start us off with your final words.
Final words. Yeah, thanks for having me back on the show. I'll be back more often. Definitely looking forward to whatever else drops this year. Although I don't know, since now it looks like Nas's album probably won't drop this year. So, yeah, it's going to be a very difficult next couple months.
Hey, that Kanye might be coming soon, though.
Oh, Kanye. Okay, we'll see about that.
Or that future Drake mixtape.
Drake? Oh, nah, I'm good. I'm good on this.
Word. Travi?
Yeah, thanks for having me back on the show. One thing I forgot to mention earlier when you asked what else I was listening to. I've been listening to Surf with a Social Experiment and Chance.
Yep.
And I'm really digging that. I like 80% of the songs on that.
80%. That's good. That's good. Yeah, it took him a minute to get to that Surf, but that Surf is fire.
Yeah.
All right, Blue. Oh wait, what's up, Rich?
No, quick comment. It is a good album.
Oh, word.
But the album of the year is Kendrick's album. Yeah. Hey, continue.
Okay.
Word. All right, Blue.
It's good to be back on the show. It's been a while since I've been on the Nights of the Turntable. I've been busy with work. 2, if TDE does come out with a collab album, keep Dr. Dre away from it, just because of past history. Let's keep it away. Let's keep him away from that. Besides that, support your artists. That's the biggest thing. Support your artists. Go buy that J-Rock album, which there are physical copies of that. So.
Yeah, true that. But
Money Trees Deuce.
Word. And Blue, I did forget to mention something that we talked about a little bit earlier, but all right, B Will.
Man, everybody really needs to go download that last Dom Kennedy mixtape. This shit was so fire. Shit was so amazing, man. One of the best albums of 2015, without a doubt. You just hitting sound effects now, ain't it?
I'm trying to block you out. Look, man.
Hey,
So with that,
that's when you tell me the trash.
So with that one, which one's worse, Dom Kennedy, Raekwon? Which one's worse?
Dom Kennedy. There's no question. There's no question. there's no doubt in my mind that one is worse.
So Dom Kennedy's album is worse than Raekwon's album.
You didn't listen to it? If you listened to it, you wouldn't be asking that fucking question.
Hey, if it's worse than Raekwon's, I was gonna give it a chance later on, but if it's worse than Raekwon's,
no, for real, don't even bother. Don't even bother.
It's not.
No.
It's not Dom Kennedy. It's Damn Kennedy. It's a damn bad album. Yeah.
Rich renaming all the whack rappers is the funniest shit.
Terrible, man. Alright, you got any real last words?
Nah, man.
Be Will?
Fun as usual, man. Glad to be a part of the conversation.
Word. Joe? You're muted. Or your mic's not working.
Joe's gonna say Dirty Sprite 2 in stores. He's going to pick that up.
It's still not working.
Yeah, I can't hear you.
All right, you know what? Everybody got to take turns speaking for Joe. So you got the Dirty Sprite 2 in, right, Blue?
Got that taken care of. Hey.
You got Free Gucci.
I am Slim Jesus, Young Della.
Please go purchase my album, Good AM. I am Mac Miller. You have something to add?
I was going to, but
Rich, you want to add anything for Joe?
Oh no, I'm good.
Okay. Well, last statement. Joe would like to say that Talib Kweli is the greatest rapper alive. Yeah, he confided in me in silence. He wanted me to bring that up for him on the show.
He said, fuck the money. He said, fuck the money.
Yeah, fuck the money, man. He's been a closet Talib Kweli fan for a long time. Man.
Hey, wait a second. I got a question. Did Talib argue that argue with Joe for him to come to that
conclusion?
That
he hit him up on Twitter, man.
Yeah, that's right.
Talib said, like, why you call my music run on sentence rap? And it was all downhill from there. But yeah, he just wanted to say that. But business as usual. Hit the eye annotation at the top right if you're watching this after the show aired or recorded rather. And please donate. If you actually no, I'm sorry, we're not. This isn't on the Coalition YouTube channel, so don't donate because you'd be donating straight to me, and ain't no telling what I'm gonna do with that money. So don't do that right now. We wrap. Oh goodness, no. I'll go invest in the these days garbage pit fund or something. But just hit the like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Hit the comment section. We're having some issues with YouTube, but we'll get it fixed sooner rather than later. Yeah, we appreciate it. I appreciate all the guests on Travi, Blue, Womp Womp, Joe Hova, B. Will, Rich. I appreciate it. It was a great conversation and one of the best episodes that we've had so far, and one of the longer ones that we've done recently, at least. But I will see y'all next time. Peace out.